Okay, boleh saya start? Boleh ke?
Boleh doktor.
Seorang je yang jawab ni.
Boleh doktor.
Boleh.
Boleh doktor.
Okay. Good. Alright, so I'll start my lecture. This is second topic. There is no calculation part in this lecture, in this topic, but starting from week 3, next week, or lecture 3, next week, we will have more calculation part and also some of the theoretical part. But for chapter 1 and 2, mostly just definitions, just like a theoretical part that you need to remember. Okay, so for chapter 2, today, before I forget, I already uploaded ebooks, for your references in Google Classroom, so you can download it later on, Okay, now chapter 2. Kinematic concept for analyzing human motion. What is kinematic? Again, siapa boleh tolong jawab kat saya? What is kinematic? We have two parameters last week, kinematic and kinetic. What is kinematic? Ahmad Ikhwan ke Nurdia Diana boleh jawab? Saya ada nama semua kat situ. Apa bezanya kinematic? What is the differences between kinematic and kinetics?
Kinematic got angles.
Kinematic?
Got angles.
Sekali lagi, Santia.
Kinematic got angles.
Kinematic?
Kinetic is force.
Okay lah. If the total mark is 10%, then I think you can get 6 to 7 marks over 10. So kinematics, the parameters that not relate to any forces like angles, okay? But kinetics, we'll learn it next week. Kinetics is the parameter that relate with force. Anything that deal with force, then we call it kinetic. So that's the thing that we will discuss next week. So for today, we will learn only kinematic concept. All right, what do we have in this lecture? First, before we go further, you need to know what is the anatomical reference positions. So this is, okay, if you can see mine, this is the anatomical reference positions. So all my face, my hand, my body, all is facing forward. Okay, all facing forward. This is not anatomical positions because my hand, you can see that facing backward. But you need all the surface on our body facing forward. That is the standing position for anatomical reference position. So when we talk about reference position, this is our reference positions. Okay, initial condition, So it is also considered the starting point for all body segment movement. So before we go further in any position, so this is the initial condition. Okay, paham So when I say anatomical reference position or initial position, that is the figure that you need to know, or you need to draw, okay, or sketch. And then we have a few terms that you need to know also, or you need to remember. One is superior, closer to the head. Inferior, okay, inferior is farther away from the head. What is the difference? When I talk superior is closer to my head, Inferior, farther away from the head. Let's put some examples. My knee. Sorry, this is not my knee. This is my elbow. My elbow and my knee. Yeah. Which one is superior? Which one is inferior? Elbow and knee. Which one is superior? Elbow is superior. Yeah, good. Good, Ikhwan. Elbow is superior. Why? Because elbow is closer to the head. Knee is farther away from the head. So that is the difference between superior, inferior. Then we have anterior, posterior. Anterior is toward the front. This is the keyword, front, toward the front of the body. Okay, this is the keyword of anterior. And then posterior, we have the back of the body. Okay, front is posterior, anterior. Back is posterior. Okay, from this figure also, it shows you what is superior, what is inferior. And then we have, okay, just now anterior, the front part of the body here. And then we have the posterior, the back part of the body. We also have medial. Okay, here, medial. You can see medial over here. Medial is toward the midline of the body. So you can see the line, this line. Okay. This is the midline of the body. Our midline, garis tengah. Garis tengah, saya don't see. Garis tengah badan kita. Okay. Toward the midline, menghampiri titik tengah, is medial. Going farther away from the midline, menjauhi garisan tengah, is lateral. Okay, gambar ni boleh faham, So from here you can see what is the different thing between medial, lateral, superior, inferior, anterior, posterior. We have distal, proximals. Okay, back. Medial, toward the midline. Lateral, away from the midline. Proximal, closer to the trunk. Trunk, this is our trunk. Distal is away from the trunk. You'll get more example later on. And then superficial, toward the surface of the body. Deep is going inside the body. Okay? So away from the surface. There are a few terms, class. Kena ingat ni benda ni. This is another examples that you can see from your lecture note. Okay, you boleh baca, I just put a few example lah, so then you can see it clearly. Alright. Then reference plane in our body. We have three main reference plane. Okay, three. First is sagittal plane. Second one is frontal plane or coronal plane. Not coronavirus, but coronal plane. So frontal, you have two terms. It depends on the reference book that you use. Some use frontal plane, the other use coronal plane. And the last one is transverse plane. So three planes that you need to know. Sagittal, frontal, and transverse plane. What is sagittal plane? So sagittal plane is which forward and backward movement occur. Forward, okay. This is forward. Backward of my body. Forward of my body, front of my body is sagittal plane. Backward is also sagittal plane. So when I move my hand front, this is sagittal plane. Backward, sagittal plane. If I move to my side, this is frontal plane. Side, side of my body is frontal plane. Okay, this is frontal plane. If you move your feet over there, left and right, also frontal plane. Transverse plane is related to rotation. When I rotate my body, so if you can see from the top, there will be a rotation over here. That is transverse plane. Okay ke? Ada tiga plane Sagittal, movement dia front, back, front, back. Okay. If frontal plane, side. Okay. This is frontal plane movement. Transverse plane over there, rotation. Clear ke? Okay ke class?
Okay, tu.
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah. So three main reference plane when we talk about our body. Okay. Then, okay, so this is a few examples. Again, from the figure, you can see that sagittal plane, the red color, the red color over here. So the red plane, the movement is front and back. And then coronal plane. Coronal plane is frontal plane. So the blue color over there, the blue area, side, left and right. And then transverse plane, the black color, when you see from the top, that will be your area. So the rotation. So that is the three main plane that you need to know. Okay, again, a few more slides that relate to the reference planes. So this is what I've just told you. Sagittal plane, the movement is flexion, extension. So hyperextension. When we use our foot, then we will have dorsiflexion here and plantar flexion. Yeah. So any movement that relate to front and backward movement, then it will be in sagittal plane. Okay. Then frontal plane or coronal plane. Okay, ada dua nama frontal or coronal. So side anything that have the side movement of our body is related to frontal plane. Okay. Transverse plane, all the rotation involved in the body. So it is transverse plane. Even our hand, our wrist, if we rotate, okay, if you rotate like this, then it will relate to transverse plane, pronation here, and also supination. Ada soalan tak regarding reference plane and their respective movements? Ada soalan tak? Tak ada ya? Akilah geleng kepala ya? Akilah rahimah. Okay, tak ada faham? Okay. Alright, good. Just now, reference plane. But now, reference axis. Still, we have three reference axis. Plane, we have three main planes. Axis also, we have three main axis. First one is, nak kena remember ni. You need to remember the terms ya. Medial lateral axis. Susah, saya pun tak boleh hafal ni. The second one is antero posterior axis. The last one is longitudinal axis. So there are three main axes. Medial lateral, antero posterior axis, longitudinal axis. For just for your understanding, to be quick, longitudinal relate to vertical axis. When we talk about longitudinal axis, there is y-axis. Okay? Vertical axis. And then we have, here, see, longitudinal axis is directed vertically. Y-axis. If you use Cartesian coordinate, that is y-axis. Here, from the figure. Longitudinal axis. So that relate to vertical axis, that is longitudinal axis. And then we have medial lateral axis over here. Okay, it is like transverse plane. So the area is in here, transverse plane. And the last one we have antero-posterior axis. So front and backward axis. Okay. So that is three main axes. You can see from the figure, Here is medial lateral axis, and then here is antero-posterior axis, and we have longitudinal axis. From Cartesian coordinate, if we have three-dimensional x, y, and z, so x will be longitudinal axis, medial lateral will be x-axis, and antero-posterior will be z-axis. So three main axis that have in our main body, Tiga lah Sama juga dengan plane tadi, ada 3. Axis pun ada 3. Okay, now we have talked about reference plane. We have talked about reference axis. We have talked about some terms that relate to our main body. Now there are, if I'm not mistaken, there are 3 form of motion, type of motion that we can see here. The first one is linear motion. What is linear motion? Motion along a line. Okay, motion along a line. Linear is not just a straight line, but linear motion can be divided into 2. First is rectilinear, along a straight line. The second one is curvilinear motion. So it have a curved line. So linear motion is not just a straight line, but linear motion can be divided into 2. One is rectilinear, that is straight, like this figure. Okay, the snail is going straight. So that is rectilinear motion. And we have curvilinear motion. So we have a curve on that motion. Okay, remember in class, linear motion, we have 2 types. And then the second type of motion, angular motion. Rotation around an axis. So it rotates around an axis. So that is the second type of motion. So this is the example of angular motion. So motion at most human body joint is angular motion with the center of rotation within the joint. From this figure, from this example, you can see that the shoulder is the center of rotation for the windmill pitch in football, in softball, sorry. So when we throw the ball, our shoulder is the center of rotation. So our hand here rotate around this axis. So that is the angular motion. And the last form of motion or type of motion is general motion. What is general motion? A combination of linear and angular motion. So this is what we have most in our human motion. So again, type of motion, we have 3 main type of motion. The first one is, apa yang pertama kelas? What is the first motion?
Linear.
Linear. Okay, good. Linear can be divided into 2 types. The first one is
Rectilinear.
Rectilinear.
okay. The second one is
Curvilinear.
Curvilinear.
okay, good.
Linear.
The second type of motion is
Angular motion.
angular motion, and last one is
General.
General motion.
so we have 3 types of motion. So general motion is combination of linear and angular motion. So senang saja ni. Kalau yang general motion, type of motion is very easy. But if I ask you now, can you tell me what is the 3 main axes that we have in our body? The first one is, without looking to the notes, the first one is
Longitudinal.
yeah, longitudinal axis. Okay, good. That is Y lah. Y axis. And then X axis here. Side. Medial lateral axis. And front and back. Okay, front and back. Z axis is
Anterior posterior.
and anterior, posterior.
Anterior posterior.
Betul ke Ikhwan? Confirm eh?
Confirm.
Alright, okay, good. So there will be 3 main axes over there. Yeah, yang tu susah sikit. Yang lain tu saya rasa okay. When we talk about motion, very straight away you have linear, angular, and general. And when we talk about plane, okay, still we have sagittal plane, frontal plane, transverse plane. Very straightforward also. But when mostly student cannot write it well when I ask about axis. So there will be 3 main axes here. You need to know, okay? And remember class, you also need to know how to sketch that plane, how to sketch that exists and label it. Itu kena tahu Okay, not just the definitions, but you also need to know how to sketch that plane and exist. Okay, Okay?
Okay, Doctor. Okay.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, then there are a few more terms. What is mechanical system? So mechanical system is like a body or portion of our body that is chosen for the analysis or to further analysis. Like, for example, here, throwing arm, kicking leg, the trunk during performance of a lift, the entire body during performance of a maximal vertical jump. Okay, what does it mean by a mechanical system? Is some sort or some part of our body that we take into consideration to make a further analysis. So if badminton, for example, so my mechanical system, now I just want to take my hand. So this is my mechanical system. So for cycling, for example, another example, if you want to focus only to the lower limb, so that will be your mechanical system. So it depends on what you are doing. So mechanical system is not only focused on one part of the body, it can also be a combination of different parts of our body. So that is the term. Maybe some of the reference book it use mechanical system. So when we talk about mechanical system in biomechanics, so it refers to a body or portion of a body that is used to be analyzed. Okay, so that is mechanical system. Tak habis lah, banyak ni. Lecture saya memang sekejap-sekejap saja setiap minggu. Kalau you faham lagi cepat kita habis. Kalau tak faham saya kena ulang. Okay? Okay, kelas? Boleh?
Boleh, Doktor.
Boleh, Doktor. Boleh.
Alright. Saya nampak kat sini. Ada ni. Nurul ada ni. Okay.
Okay, Doktor.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. So this is some mechanical system that I just explained to you just now. So maybe the first figure, we only focus on that part only. Okay. On the lower limb only. Maybe on the left hand side saja. And then the second figure, maybe we use the whole body of the cyclist as the mechanical system, the whole body. Okay, same as the last one also. We use the whole body as the mechanical system. So it depends on what we want to analyze. Alright? Oh, okay, ni dah subtopic terakhir ni. The last subtopic. Spatial reference system. What is spatial reference system? In mathematics, mostly in mathematics, we use Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, we use Cartesian coordinate system. So that is what the lecturer said, or the name that given by the lecturer. Cartesian coordinate system, X and Y. But in biomechanics, mostly we use the term spatial reference system. But it's the same. It's the same as Cartesian coordinate system. The only different thing is this word, spatial reference system. But it is like a Cartesian coordinate system, the same thing. So it is useful for standardizing description of human motion, and it is X and Y coordinate. So what is spatial reference system? Again, you have Y axis, you have X axis. So the origin is 0, 0. And then if you want to see the position X and Y, then it will be like this lah. So 1, 2, 3. So X is 3. The height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Y is 7. So we will write it as 3, 7, X and Y. Okay, very straightforward. So if our location is on this area, X positive, Y positive. Senang ni, ini dah belajar waktu primary school lah. If your position is this area, in this area, X minus, Y plus. Here X plus, Y minus. Here is X minus, Y minus. Very, very straightforward. Ada soalan? Habis.
Ada doktor.
Habis. Saya dah habis lecture untuk hari ni. Ya, Ikhwan. Ada nak tanya apa-apa, Ikhwan? Ahmad Ikhwan.
Ada doktor.
Muhammad
Ada.
Ikhwan. Muhammad Ikhwan, saya ada Ahmad Ikhwan.
Tak ada.
Tak ada ya? So next week. So the last week and this week, we learn about a lot of terms. Directional term, and then some other terms that relate to our body. But starting next week, as I said just now, we'll move forward, we'll move further on the calculation part. That will relate to engineering mechanics that we learned before. But some of you did not yet take engineering mechanics. Don't worry about that. I will try my best to do some sort of revision before we go depth into that calculation part, okay? So like moment, equation of equilibrium, how to write down the equation of moment, what is the rotation plus or minus, counterclockwise is plus, clockwise is minus. So that things I will discuss further next week before we go depth to that calculation. So don't worry if you don't take engineering mechanics last semester. Don't worry, I'll try my best to do some sort of revision on that part. Okay, but in biomechanics, the equation that you need to know well is the equation of equilibrium and also the equation of moment. Equation of equilibrium, summation fx equal to 0, summation of fy equal to 0, summation of fz equal to 0, and the last one, equation of moment equal to 0. Yeah? Moment, apa equation of moment? Can you tell me, class, apa equation of moment? Moment equals to, just want to test it. Moment equals to apa?
FT.
F D. Okay, this is moment. F is the force. Okay. D is, what is D?
Distance.
Okay, distance betul tapi tak tepat lagi. Perpendicular distance. Dia mesti 90 degree ya. It should be 90 degree. Okay, before we end the class, we'll try and make one examples. Okay. Ada in. Sekejap Okay. This is my beam. This is support reactions. FB 100 Newton. 2 meter, 1 meter, 3 meter. Can you calculate FB for me? Okay, what is the value of FB, for examples? So this is the thing that I can ask you about that. Yeah. So how to write down the equation of moment? Let's say if this is point A, this is point B. Before we write down the equation of moment, equation of equilibrium, then you need to draw free body diagram. Remember, class, for biomechanics, for my class, any calculation that you want to proceed, you need to draw free body diagram. That will give you marks. Okay? If your answer is correct, but you don't have any free body diagram, you will miss some marks. Akan hilang markah 1 atau 2. So please, class, before you proceed with the calculations, draw your free body diagram. Okay? Something like this. This is the original figure. So when you draw your free body diagram, it will be like this. We have here, maybe we can say that FA, to represent the support reaction at point A, only vertical directions. And then we have here, cannot point B because we have FP over here. This is point C, for example. So we have FC, and then draw back again, we have 100 Newton, and we have FB. So put all the dimension, 2 meter, 3 meter, 1 meter. So remember, again class, after you get your original figure, then you need to move it into the second figure that will be your free body diagram. So you need to change all the support reactions here and here into the unknown forces. Kita ada dua unknown. So we need to find this unknown, and the last one will be our next force. So this is the thing that I will discuss again next week. So don't worry about that. If you can't remember or if you forget how to solve this type of questions, then I will do it again. Okay, jangan bimbang Okay, ada soalan lagi tak? Now already 8:42, 40 minutes finish class class. Ada soalan tak? Ke nak saya sambung chapter 3? Kalau saya sambung chapter 3, when I go to the calculation part, I'm afraid that some of you are not prepared for that calculation part. So later on, download the chapter 3 lecture note, then try to see the example that I give. Then next week we'll discuss more. And I will give more example of calculation questions next week. So we will discuss throughout the lecture. Okay, ada soalan lagi tak? Yang tak faham? Regarding chapter 2 just now, kinematics. Next week is kinetics. Ada soalan lagi tak? Nur Suraya. Ada soalan tak?
Tak ada sir.
Tak ada, Alhamdulillah. Yang lain-lain okey ke?
Okey, doktor. Ada soalan?
Okey, Adam kata tak ada soalan. Okey, yang lain-lain pun tak ada lah Siapa minta pun recorded lecture last week. Because there is no request from you, then saya tak upload lah dalam Google Classroom. So if you need anything, then just let me know. Just text on the group lah, WhatsApp group. Okay. And by this week also, I will start giving you assignment 1. So there will be, I'm not sure how many questions, I forget. But assignment 1 will be in Google Classroom by this week. So you can start to answer that question because that question is related to chapter 2 and also chapter 3. So chapter 3 will go to next week. So I will give you 2 to 3 weeks to solve that assignment. Okay, ada soalan tak?
Kata nak tengok teaching plan boleh kata?
Nak tengok teaching plan saya upload dalam Google Classroom, okay?
Okey doktor.
Okay okay. Muhammad Ikhwan nanti saya upload dalam Google Classroom, then you can tengok lah, you can see the rest of the teaching plan. Okay, yang lain-lain ada tak? Nafisa?
Doktor,
Ya.
teaching plan tu ada tunjuk sekali tak? Macam contoh, dia tunjuk bila contoh week 3 tu ada quiz atau test atau week seterusnya?
Ada Adam? Ada. So far kita akan follow that teaching plan. Cuma sepatutnya last week I need to give you the assignment. So because the first week we don't have any lecture, so I move the assignment to this week. But supposedly next week lah, last week lah yang I need to submit the assignment. So the rest, quizzes, test, final exam, we will follow that teaching plan. Lab session also will follow that teaching plan. Okay, if the teaching plan state that week 7 we have quiz, then week 7 we will have that quiz. Only assignment 1 I bring forward to this week. The rest should be the same. Okay, Adam?
Okey, doktor.
Okay, Nafisa, saya tak dengar suara lagi. Okay. Alright. So, any more questions before I end the class today? Tak ada
Tak ada
Okay,
tak
if-
ada.
Okay, Alhamdulillah tak ada. Zunaira. Macam ni saya boleh nampak, semua boleh tengok. Baru seronok. Okay, if there is no more question class, so I will see you again next week. Yeah, same time, same session here. Alright, thank you very much. Before you left the sessions, don't forget to fill up your attendance. Sekejap, saya paste dalam chat nanti terlupa nak isi. Mana? Sekejap,